everybody, my name's Helen, and basically, let's talk about Please Ignore Vera Dietz by ASK. So the first part of this review and discussion will be spoiler-free, and I'll move into a more spoilery section later. I'll let you know when that's coming so that all of you non-spoilery people can leave and read the book, and then come back and watch, because this book is awesome. It really is. Please Ignore Vera Dietz is about a girl named Vera, and her best friend Charlie recently died, and he is being blamed for this crime that she knows he didn't do, and his ghost is haunting her and trying to convince her to clear his name. It's very, very just beautifully written. It's a little bit weird, but I like that it's weird, and the weirdness comes from sort of like this magical realism aspect of it, and this was just really, really good. The writing was fantastic. Every single character was flawed and very real feeling, which was wonderful, and I just can't recommend this book enough to you. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I own Ask the Passengers, but it's back at school, and I really want to read it now. I want to read like all of ASK's books now, because I fell in love with her writing, I fell in love with her storytelling, and I know that she mentioned in a interview with Ariel Bissett that she is a pantser, as a cat likes to call them, which is she doesn't outline before she writes. She has no idea what's going to happen. So she says in this interview that when Vera goes to open a box in this, she has no idea what's going to be inside of it until Vera knows. And knowing that makes this just so much more magical. It's strange to me how well this book came together without outlining, because I couldn't do that if my life depended on it. It's so good. The writing is fantastic. The characters are fantastic. The entire plot is just surrounding this mystery of Charlie and his death. And I can't gush about this enough. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend it. Please go pick up Please Ignore Vera Dietz. So now I'm going to move into the more spoilery section of this video. So if you haven't read the book or you don't want to be spoiled, then please leave, because I don't want to spoil this for you. It is a beautiful book, and it deserves to be read without being ruined. Bye! Okay. The first thing I really want to talk about is actually Vera's father, Ken, because he's like this Zen Buddhist. He's super, super chill most of the time. But I had so many problems with him while I was reading this. He's very much he's the kind of father who is just like, oh, Vera doesn't, go out and party, she doesn't do this, she doesn't do that, she's working full time and maintaining her grades. Obviously, this is because I'm such a great parent and everybody else is a terrible parent. He is a very good father to Vera, even though I don't agree with a lot of the things that he does. I hate when people have that kind of mindset. And he also has this, just ignore it attitude. So even though, Charlie's parents are beating each other just down the street and they can hear it when they're 100 yards away, he's like, oh, there's nothing we can do about it, just ignore it. And it's like, no. Call the police, get the woman some fucking help. And he's very manipulative with things like Vera's mom's car and how she wanted it, and he basically was just like, well, you can have the car if you take the pizza delivery job and not the Zimmerman's job. And it's like, how is that okay? I had a lot of problems with him, but I understood where he was coming from and I understood why he was that way. It was just very, very difficult to read some of the things that they do. Although the therapist session with him and Vera when they had to roleplay each other was hilarious, and also, I think, a very big stepping stone for them, because I feel like instead of actually communicating with each other, they were, playing at communicating. And that therapist session kind of made them realize that. And so after that, they opened up discussion a lot more between the two of them, and it was lovely. Of course, I did have some issues with Vera as well. I didn't like that she had some of her father's kind of stuck-up views of the world. So, she found out that her mom was a stripper, and she was like, I'm too good to do that. I never want to be associated with that. Even though it wasn't it's not a big deal. Her mom had to be a stripper for a little while so that they could afford to raise her. It was a thing that happened. She got out of it. She ended up being a waitress. She was very much like, I must go against my destiny because my dad was an alcoholic and my mom was a stripper, so obviously that's what destiny wants me to do, and I don't want to do that. She was kind of on a path to becoming an alcoholic with how much vodka she was drinking throughout most of this, and how drunk she kept getting, and then there was like the Christmas party too, which was just like... The Christmas party was one messed up scene with Mick that Charlie is believed to have committed, is burning down the Zimmerman's pet store and killing so many of the animals inside of it. They kind of reveal super early on, through a chapter told from Charlie's perspective, that it wasn't him, it was Jenny, one of his detention head buds slash kind of girlfriend. She totally framed him for it. So we know through so much of the book that it was actually Jenny who had done it, but we don't know what actually happened, because all we know is that these animals died and that it was Jenny that killed them, and we don't find out until like the last 3 or 4 chapters that she actually burned the place down. And there's a point where you think that she might have even killed Charlie, but his death is actually kind of anticlimactic, because you have all this build up to it and you think that he must have died in some super spectacular way, but he died by choking on his own vomit. And he kind of mentions it in one of, I think it's like the very first chapter from his perspective, that dying by choking on your own vomit is not a glamorous way to go. But it's kind of so nonchalantly put in that you don't really, or at least I didn't really process it as him being like, yeah, that's how I died, was like this. And even though I kind of remembered it later on, I thought maybe that it was because of, like, maybe Jenny drugged him or something, and he ended up, like, having a seizure and passing out and choking on his vomit or whatever. But no, he was home in his front yard, dead on the lawn, which is super unfortunate, and I would hate to be his parents in that kind of position, finding out that their son was dead by him being curled up in a ball, choked on his own vomit in the front yard. And that was after coming home from a thing with John, who's like the creepy pervert that Charlie sells his underwear to, which I still can't really wrap my head around, because no way in hell would I ever trust someone like that. I also understand that Charlie is in a pretty fucked up situation, and so trusting John doesn't seem like the worst thing he could do, but it was just not good. I really wish we had gotten to know exactly what was in the envelope that was inside the box that Vera opened. Charlie says that she shouldn't open it because she won't like him anymore. It says that there's like pictures or video or whatever on the CD file, so I'm wondering if the CD was in there, but I would have just liked that confirmation, like just that absolute sure fact of knowing. That's all I really have to say about Please Ignore Vera Dietz. As you can tell, I really, really enjoyed this book. Have you guys read it, and if so, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. I do respond to every comment on my videos, and I absolutely love hearing from you. And I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!